Good, good. First thing I'd like to do as we get started, as I always do, is I'd like you to, we're going to talk about how to use NLP for sales, how to teach an NLP course, and also how to teach an NLP course without any time or effort. So how to use NLP yourself, and then also maybe if you choose to, how to teach a course. Okay? And it's going to be a lot of fun. I always like to go over material that you can actually use in your real life. So type ready in the box if you're ready. Good, good. All right, let me make sure. Good, we are ready. Good, good, good. Let's go. Okay. What would happen if, number one, you could learn to use NLP for selling? That would be interesting. And two, you could teach an easy-to-use NLP for sales course, right? Well, it would give you two things. Well, you could use NLP in your own life and for selling, and then, of course, you could also, good, you could also just rock with this puppy. So let's go. How to get people to buy from you. The subconscious advantage. NLP for sales by myself. Okay, good. First of all, it's no secret. NLP should be used more in selling situations. Most NLPers and hypnotists have trouble selling NLP sales and business courses. But it will double your own sales if you use this technology to its greatest thing. It can open up a new market. Helps in all situations. Now, why it doesn't work? People can't adapt to the selling mindset, especially those that get into the NLP and hypnosis. It's almost like we have a therapeutic mindset, so it's hard to adapt to a selling mindset. So it also begins to happen, sometimes we have false ethical constraints. Maybe they've never done it. They have no model of success. They have a therapy-only mindset. So why most can't sell NLP for work? Again, they have false assumptions about what we're doing. Business wants examples. Businesses, when you talk to business, they want examples. People have a fear of doing it. There used to be a bad rep in the biz community about NLP. That's changing. It's coming back around. Kind of goes in cycles, but it's becoming very popular again, which is a good thing. And sometimes people have no congruent approach on how to do it. Right? So here's what's tried. Taking a therapy mindset into selling and business settings. This I've seen happen a lot. Right? So if you take that mindset into selling, it's not going to work. They're not therapists. They're salespeople. They're car salesmen. They just want to sell more cars. Teaching from a theory, but not experience. So you have people that haven't really done it, but they're going to teach about it. Listening to people who have never done it. That's also what happens. They take a class from someone who says they'll show you how to do it, but they've never done it themselves, the teacher. So again, why it doesn't work. Businesses only want results. They like theory to back something up, but that's not what they're into. They want results. And people read your energy, and if you're incongruent, people pick that up and you lose your power. Applying your beliefs instead of using the target. So whatever your target's belief is, the person you're talking to, using their belief set instead of your belief set. If their belief set's just sell more product, you have to adapt to that. Not that, of course, you would never sell anything someone that they really couldn't need or use, just to make the money. Yeah, people might want to do that. So there's all these other things that come on. So you're using your beliefs instead of that. So here's what you need to do in 4 steps. Change your mindset. Find a model that really works. Use it yourself, then teach it. Have fun. That's one of the keys. You've got to have fun. Step 1. Develop a selling and business mindset. This is one of the things that happen to, not just NLPers, But therapy in general. I was just at a seminar psychologist for concussions. And again, talking to people, this is a big thing. They say, well, I'm a therapist. I'm a practitioner. I'm not a business person. I'm not a salesperson. But unfortunately, yes, you are, right? Because that's just what it is, right? You have to accept that you're a salesperson, first and foremost, right? You're selling your ideas, you're selling your concepts, you're selling your beliefs, and you're selling yourself as the answer to their problem, right? A parent, spouse, therapist, teacher, whatever, you're also selling things. As a parent, you got to sell the idea of a good lifestyle to your kids. I mean, the list goes on and on. Because without selling, nothing happens. Nothing. Step 2, find a model that really works. You got to find something that really works across the board. Practice it in real-world situations. So take your skill set and really do it. Apply it to you. So you begin to do it, and then once you begin to do it, then you can really take it out into the world. Step 3, change your sales approach, which is what we'll be working on today, I think is what we'll do today. Teach it to others, because there's something about once you learn it and you practice a little bit, once you start to teach it to somebody else, it makes you learn it better. I think I became better at NLP when I started to teach NLP, because I looked at it at every aspect, and I knew people were going to ask questions, so I needed to know more. You got to have a fun mindset, because successful salespeople all seem to have fun selling. They like the process of selling. They like what they're doing. It's not like, oh, I got to do that to do this. They like the process. So then you need to begin to read about sales and persuasion, which is what sales is. Talk to salespeople who like it and are successful. What do you like about being a salesman? What do you do to make yourself successful? So let's do it. Just the other day, I had someone call, and we were talking about, what they wanted to do. And so, of course, now I've got to sell my ideas about everything that I do to these people. So that's the scenario. And, they were kind of stuck. They were kind of stuck on what they wanted to do. And, how was I going to help take them to the next level? And it was a hypnotist, and it was about a practice building thing. And they'd been around a couple other people that did practice building, right? So I'm giving you kind of a background. So I'll show you what I was doing. And they didn't have some good responses with a couple of the people that did practice building. So there was a negative there. And they had that feeling. Then, and then they'd read some books on it by people, and they were hypnotists in the National Guild of Hypnotists about it. And, it wasn't working, and they were very frustrated. Now, I have to also caveat that they were very successful in another career. They were a magician, and they were successful. I mean, they were making a very good living as a magician. They wanted to add this to it, and they were actually doing stage hypnosis and doing well. But they wanted to open their clinic up, right? And one of the, I'll give you the whole background. So now I'm talking to the person. So I found out that in the information gathering, that one of the practice building people wanted them to just quit doing stage shows, just do this, this, and this, and then eventually, give up their magic to focus on this. Well, that's not what they wanted to do. So I knew that. So that was some of the negatives, right? There was also, they liked where they lived, so it wasn't open to move. And they tried some of the traditional things that were said in the traditional practice building world and that world of hypnosis and NLP that wasn't working. So basically, here's what I did. I said, Joe, as you look to the future and you see the kind of practice you want to have, the kind of practice I think you want to have is a nice, vibrant little practice where you can replace some of your income that you're making now with your magic and maybe even some of your stage shows. Maybe become more selective about the shows that you do, because you still like performing. Look, I know that you, like me, like performing. I'm a performer. I like performing. And I don't want to give that up. And neither do you, and nor should you. But you probably want to be more selective, because I'll bet you one of the problems that you're running into is you're getting tired of being on the road. It sounds glamorous to do, 100 something dates a year as a magician or stage hypnotist, till you realize that's, you're away from home more than you're at home. And if you like your home life, you want to be there. And he nodded his head, so now we had agreement. And I kind of figured that was it. So anyway, I said, well, so when you look to that future and you find that nice, vibrant little practice where you're seeing, maybe you don't want one of those super practices where you're seeing, 25 people a day in multiple rooms, and you're there 5 days a week, and you're killing yourself. Maybe you want a nice, vibrant practice where maybe one room, maybe later on add another room, where you can see, 15, 20 people a week, 10 to 15 to start. So you're beginning to replace that income. So suddenly you can say no to those shows you don't want to do, the trips you don't want to take, and focus on what you want. So as you look to that future, I want you to realize that you can do it. Now, maybe you've had some negative experiences. Maybe you've had some negative experiences in the past with people that are going to try to take you into, my way or the highway approach. Well, let me tell you that, in my personal world, I want someone who's going to help me do what I want. I don't want someone that's going to show me how to do what they want. I'm not a kid anymore. I don't need a parent. I just need a mentor. And so, when I try to help people, first I got to find out exactly what you want, steer you in that direction so we can build what you want. Because when you're doing what you want, as you look to it naturally and easily, you'll find yourself really beginning to develop a practice that you're passionate about. And then when your passion's there, your energy follows, and you can do more, and you can have more fun with it. So that's my goal. So if you decide to do this, now I have to warn you, though, I don't take everybody, because there's a lot of information out there, and people are stuck in the old models. I mean, they try to do that bull crap like, oh, speak at the Rotary, speak at the Kiwanis. That's how you build your practice, right? Well, I can tell you, you speak at the Kiwanis, you speak at the Rotary to practice your speaking skills. You don't use it to build your practice. Unless you really have a specific method on what you're going to do at that Kiwanis or at that Rotary. And one of the problems people run into when they go to that venue is they're trying to educate the world on what hypnosis is. People don't give a crap about what hypnosis is. They want to stop smoking, lose weight, increase their sales. That's what they want. And what you have to do is walk in with a targeted approach and show them how you can solve a problem. And yet you have to be the person to solve the problem. And as I was doing this to him, I'm pointing to myself when I say person that can solve the problem. So I'm anchoring that to myself. Those of you who know my anchoring techniques. So, you need to find that, as you're speaking, you say, you're the person that could solve that problem. That person's right in front of you. And then you might get a few more referrals out of a speech, but I never found it that effective. I would go to those places and do that when I wanted to practice a speaking skill, not necessarily build my practice, because you got to build your practice in this current market much different than what some of the people used to say. I mean, I built the practice just with newspaper advertising, but that was a long time ago. It doesn't work like it used to. It still works. In fact, there's a secret way to leverage newspaper stuff if it's done right. And, that's the kind of stuff I show people. And, how to leverage your internet so it's part of your overall marketing plan. Because just because you throw up an internet site doesn't mean people are going to come. It's not like that movie where if you build it, people mistake that quote saying they will come. Actually, it says he will come. But no, it's not like that. We have to figure out ways to drive people to your website. And in fact, I can show you a couple other things you can do with a speech that might, and I've seen it work, and I've done it, if it's leveraged right. But that's the kind of stuff I do. Now, again, I don't know if it's right for you, and I don't even know if I can accept you as a client. But if you do, what I'll have you do is sign up for the mentoring course, and I'll give you some assignments, and we'll start working. And I don't want to charge you the whole thing up front, because I want to make sure I can work with you, So in fact, lately what I do is X, Y, and Z, and then I'm using an incremental small sales approach because I wanted the scarcity. So that was a sales technique. And here's the other thing that I did is I use the hierarchy of thought to help move the person up this chain. He was stuck in the first order, the level 1, where he was in the sensory experience of having practice building experience with a practice builder and with some of the information that was out there about practice building. He was having a bad experience. That's not good. I had to pull him out of that and notice what he had to think about when he wanted to make that change. So from being in that negative, like you've had some bad experiences, you want to step out of that, look to the future about what you want. So you're thinking about the thinking. So that's what I'm, that's what I did in the first part, is pull him out of the experience, place him in a thought where he could think about it, change how he's thinking about it, realize, I do it differently, so I'm opening up the experience. So when we went back in the experience, and I also added in, I don't take everybody. This ain't about just getting your money. This isn't about just getting your money. I want to make sure I can really help you. That's why I'm not going to charge you everything up front, because I want to make sure I can help you. And, if you pay me everything up front and I really can't help you, I feel bad, And then, of course, he offers to pay me everything up front. So, there's things you can do to move people up and down the hierarchies and help them achieve their goals, right? And so, I pulled them out of I am angry to thinking of not angry, but I'm not selling well, to thinking about, I'm having the thought I'm not selling well and why. And then he noticed that he could change his thinking about why he can't sell well with his practice when he could do other things, da-da-da-da-da. He's been successful with other things if he has the right mentor. And I had him talk about his mentor for the magic that got him to do what he's doing, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Linked it all together. When I brought him back down, it worked. So that's the hot sales secret. And that's the hot sales secret, which is the hierarchy of thought, which is a lot of people get stuck in the thinking mode. So those you have to put into the experience. They're thinking about buying a car, thinking about buying a car, thinking about buying a car. So working with a car salesman, and that he goes, a lot of people do that because they first start thinking about, I want a car, right? In fact, I'm kind of stuck there now. I'm thinking about, I want a different car, right? And until I step into the experience of I'm ready to buy, I'm not going to buy the car. So to sell me something, you have to get me into the experience. It's one reason why, that's why, like for cars, they try to get you to take a test drive. They want you to experience the drive. Hopefully that'll get you to buy it, right? But you can even talk about taking it from thinking down. I know a lot of people just think about buying a car. And when you think about buying a car, that's wonderful. But when you make that decision on the kind of car you really want, and obviously you're here to look at this car, Ram 1500 truck, you could think about the experience of driving this truck every day, having it be part of your experience. What does that mean to you? Why do you want to buy the car? Does it make you feel good? Do you like the way a truck looks? Do you like the way people treat people who drive trucks? You like sitting up high? Whatever it is, whatever those things are, you could use that to do that. Now, other people, though, if they're especially if they're with a competitor and they like it, but you're trying to switch them, you need to bring them out of the experience into thinking about the experience. Yeah, I know you're kind of happy with your current vendor for office products, but if you just step back and think about, how does that person treat you? Does he return your calls promptly on time? Because sometimes what begins to happen when you're a really good customer to somebody, they kind of go on the back burner, and you don't get that first rate, that same kind of courtship that you get from someone new. So you're pulling them out of the experience into thinking about it so you can switch how they think about it and put them out of the experience. So first you just have to realize, where is the person in the process that you're trying to sell? Now, with the guy I was doing that little demo with, he was kind of stuck in thinking about he's ready to start, And that's because he'd had some bad experiences. He didn't want to get back into the experience. So first of all, I had him access the experience. Oh, it's bad what these people did and the kind of crappy advice he got. Pull him back into thinking about it, making some switches, linking myself into some successful person in his past, putting it all back together, having them step back down into the experience. So that's what we just did. We witnessed basically a very short NLP sales process, based on the information that I had at the time, and do this. A lot of you see me do this when I'm selling you something. I kind of gather this information. It looks kind of scatological, and I'm bouncing around, I'm having fun, and I'm constantly trying to get people to laugh, because humor loosens up your neurology. I had fun with it, and people like to have fun. I'm not putting pressure on them. I'm not putting pressure on me, right? And that's a secret few know about, is a hierarchy. I have to know where you are so I can move you, right? So here's what I want you to have. A selling mindset. You have to be able to think like a salesman. Sometimes we think that's bad, but again, if nobody sells a car, if there's no car salesman, nobody builds cars. Nobody's building cars. All those people are laid off. All those people are laid off. Stores close because they don't have money to buy the things. They don't have houses. Houses get foreclosed. Now, everything starts with selling, including your practice, including whatever it is that you do. First, you have to sell it. Then you need a NLP for sales model. What's a model that really works? I use the HOT model with covert language, with anchoring, with all the things that we know, and put it together. Then you have to have a model that you can teach, because once you begin to do it and you understand it, then you begin to teach it, right? And then you have a fun course that you can use personally, and then you can also teach other people, which makes your learning even deeper. So introducing NLP for sales, updated. Here's what I want you to have. My book, which I'm going to update. I believe this is the best course on NLP and selling ever, and a webinar to go with the course, by the way, which will give you the step-by-step methods that you need. Here's why it's different than anything else you've seen available today. Experience, right? Experience. I've taught these courses. I've written a couple other books on sales. I'm constantly selling my seminars, my sessions. I've been doing it a long time. So if you don't have this kind of training, you're leaving money on the table and you're having less fun. And you can get started in your own time. NLP for sales. Number one, you need a selling mindset. So module 1, I'll talk about a selling mindset. What do successful salespeople think about? You know what? You want to be a successful, I always tell people when I'm training therapists, you need a therapy mindset. What do the successful therapists think about? Usually they're curious, fascinating. This is going to be cool helping you solve this problem. Because people are interested. Well, guess what? That is pretty close to the first part of the selling mindset. Fascinating. How am I going to move this person to buy what I need to sell them? So it's only a small switch, but it's a major switch. Number 2 is an NLP for sales model. That's what I give you, a methodology to approach and to use this stuff, right? And then I'm going to show you how to learn it so you can teach it. And you're teaching it in order to learn it. Also, I always think of the martial arts. Later today, I have a cane fighting class. And it was interesting to hear the teacher talk. He's kind of excited to teach it again because it makes him study more, it makes him work more, and he has to think about it more. So we're not alone in that, right? And it's a fun course to model. Again, it's all about having fun. There's going to be challenges built into it. There's checklists. There's recordings. It's always there for you to use. There'll be a community. Hopefully it'll get busier where people post things, ask questions, right? Lifetime access. So the value, if you added all those things up, $2,673. But I would charge $997 because that's a general course. What a nice 2-day sale, 3-day sales course you could charge someone is about $997. And people will buy it. If it's packaged right, marketed, people will buy it. Why? Because they want to sell more. Salespeople will spend money. They're always going, real estate people go to real estate seminars, and it's all about selling. But I'm not going to charge that. I'm going to charge just $397. I was going to charge the $997, then I was going to charge that $497, but it's going to be $397 if it's for a sales focused model. And there's going to be a class, and it'll be taught live over 2 days. I'm calling it the Practice Builder Sales Model, right? Because I'm going to teach some interesting things about how your mind works with the new naturalistic theory of hypnosis, which is how your mind works and how we use it for waking hypnosis and covert hypnosis, as well as traditional NLP and hypnosis, and also with the sales process. So this will be taught live over 2 days. It's October 11th and 12th. And on the 22nd, I'm going to have a conference call that only the people that will be there live will get, right? A webinar will be available as a follow-up, or you can do the webinar first. You'll actually have 2 webinars. You have the practice building webinar, and you'll have the NLP for Sales webinar. So that's actually a double bonus. And it'll be posted on the community in nlpforsales.com/members that you can review the NLP for Sales. And then when you come down to the live training, we can customize it to fit you the way that you really need it. And there'll be updates and feedback from the users. And when I get more information, I'll keep updating it, making changes, tweaking things, how people think, what some of this interesting, how the neurons work with the sales model, right? It's 100% risk-free. If for any reason you're not happy, you can get your money back before you come to the seminar. Once you come to the seminar, we're going to work together. We're going to have fun. So if you jump in, do the webinar, and say, I don't know if I'm ready, we can take care of that. The only catch, of course, is you lose access to the training and the community. But you have a decision to make. You have a decision to make now. The good news, it's an easy decision. Because if you want success, you have to model successful people. So go to nfnlp.com and sign up for the seminar. It'll either be listed as for the deposit for the practice building course or NLP for Sales. So the increased income you make by selling more clients and also maybe pushing a sales course will pay you back many times over. The average class student should pay between $4.95 to $9.95, some as high as $29.95 for a really good sales course. And when you start teaching sales and business people pay. Remember I had my clinic and it was going pretty good, and I was going to offer this course, and I started talking it up. I had a lot of people in my office that were real estate people. They came, but what was also interesting, they told some of their friends. So people that weren't my clients came. My clients came, and I gave them a discount. It was going to be a $500 seminar. This was back eight years ago. I gave them in for like $195, so that paid some money right there. But many of those brought their friends, who I let them in at the special price. So I ended up having like 10 people at between $9.95 and the $4.95. So it was pretty good, and I did it over a 2-day. So it was actually kind of fun. So again, you have a decision to make. The good news is it's an easy decision. So go to nfnlp.com and sign up for the course. Without this course, you have lost income, no business opportunities to do it in the business world, lost connections, and less credibility. It's something you can add, even if you decide not to do it, it'll make you better. With this course, you have more income because you'll close more of your prospects, and you can add more income by adding a sales course. You'll have more fun, more credibility, and a new market, and a new network, right? I know people that, one guy, he's done this at a college. He teaches an NLP for Sales, or, hypnotic selling. I don't know what he calls it. Anyway, he'll get 25, 30 people in the room. He'll always get 5 private clients out of it for weight loss, stop smoking, because now I coached him in. Guess what? Make sure you mention the fact that if people are overweight and they're salespeople, they will sell less because people see them differently than if they're closer to their ideal body weight. So he would just mention that a few times, and of course he had a few overweight salespeople. They signed up for his weight loss course. So he made money teaching the NLP for Sales, got several, and he charged, I think he said $9.95 for his weight loss course, 5 people there. So he's being paid to make money. Isn't that great? So what to do? Go to nfnlp.com to secure your spot now. Click the PayPal, click the pay button, send that to me. Look for details in your email, or send me a PayPal request, or I will send you a PayPal request if you just want to email me. If it gets that, just to drwillhorton@gmail.com. And so go ahead and do that now. nfnlp.com, and that's nlpforsales.com. You can sign up right there. I'll put the whole thing together. So go to www.nlp, the number 4, sales, sales.com, C-O-M, www.nlpforsales.com, and you can sign up for the class. Have a good time, and I look forward to seeing you as we trudge the road